Today, all about smallmouth and easier techniques for those days where they just don't want to bite. We're going to go through one of my favorite ways to catch bass on days like today, cold fronts, and the bass just don't want to bite nothing else. It's a blast. Come here, big girl. Come on. Big bass like this on cold front days, they want tiny lures. That's a beautiful fish to start it with. You know, so many of us when we go bass fishing, we just think you can throw spinner baits and crankbaits and throw them every day, all the time, and you're always going to catch big bass like this. And most of the time it's true. But every once in a while you'll get a couple days of the year where they just won't bite anything. And you found them, you know where they're at, but they just won't touch anything. So that's what I'm doing today. Is it's one of those days, and I'm taking my crappie gear. It's a 16th ounce jig and a tube, light tackle, 4-pound test, and we're catching bass and big bass, and nobody else is. So I'm gonna get back out there and get another one. Oh, broke my line. That's part of it when you fish this small line, but you know, the spot we're on here is kind of a big sand flat, and these fish have been moving in when they're eating and moving out when they're not hungry. And they're up here today, they're hungry, but they just won't take anything else. We were throwing other stuff earlier, and they just won't even look at it. And you just got to keep that in your log of tricks when you go to these spots to get that light tackle out. Go to those really small lures, that stuff you don't even use barely for sunfish. That's the stuff these things will eat. I'm going to tie up and get another one. Oh, go ahead. With light tackle, you really got to play them out. Like I said, I got 4-pound test on. This is my little crappie rod. But it's so important, these smallmouth, even largemouths, they have such good eyesight that when they turn off, you got to be ready to go small and light line, and these big bass will come in the boat for you. And the whole trick about this is just finding where they're at. Once you find where they're at, this system will work anywhere all year long. And it's a blast. It's a fun fight catching them on these light tackle like this. But the main thing is when you find them, it doesn't really matter what time of year it is, whether you're in the spring and they're on beds, or in the fall, they're on weed beds, deeper weeds, or rocks, wherever you find them. When you know they're there and they just won't touch a spinnerbait or a tube or a worm or anything, try downsizing your baits. You'll be amazed at how many fish will come up and eat them. Oh. So I had to retie after I lost that fish, and I just wanted to go through a little of the tackle that I'm using today. I've got a 7-foot ultralight action rod, and the reason for that is I'm throwing 4-pound test and I'm throwing 16th ounce jigs. I need that long light rod to be able to whip that lure out there as far as I can. And that goes with the line. The line needs to be real thin to handle these jigs, to get them out there a ways and to be able to feel the fish when they do pick it up. And a lot of the fish that we're catching, we're not really feeling a hit, so to speak, like you would a walleye or a normal bass fishing. Most of it is they're picking it up, and you'll either see your line move a little across the water, or when you go back to jig, they'll just be weight. And obviously we're fishing sand, so if we got any kind of weight on the rod, we're setting the hook. But some of the tackle you can use, like this is just the 16-ounce jig. That's probably the baseline of what you're going to use. Now as far as tails go, there's a bunch of different options for tails. You can use little twister tails like this. Smallmouth in particular love grubs. They love twister tails. You can use a variety of these tubes. And these tubes are one of my main go-to baits for bass fishing at all. Even the bigger tubes later in the year when they're more active. But tubes are great options, twister tails, and then you can go to something like this. These are little flu-foos. They've got little spinners on the back. They can be very effective. And even if you do find out really shallow, sometimes the best way to get them is on a fly rod. And when you get on the fly rod, you can use little flies, little poppers like this. And you can even downsize to smaller yet and get the really small trout flies and just pull them across these flats, and those fish will gobble them up like baits. So that's the main tackle that you're going to use. Just remember that light line, light lures, light rods, and fish slow. And you'll get a bunch more bass in your boat this year. Big old turd. That's a big girl. Come here, girl. She ain't ready yet. Look at that. Giant bass love small baits. Those days where you can't catch them, like I was saying, with spinner baits and crankbaits and everything else, throw these little baits like this. Bait that small and you get giant bass with them. Try it all year long and you're going to put yourself a lot of big bass in your boat on days when nobody else can even find the little ones. That is a gorgeous fish. We'll get her back. Down, if you're not trying these small lures, you really need to. It's a system that nobody uses, and it will put a lot more big fish in your boat. And it works for everything else too. So get out in your lakes, try it. I'm telling you, you're missing out if you're not trying it. So have a good one. We'll see you next week.